I'd like to call to order the meeting of April 17, 2018. Would you all please stand for the invitation? Pledge allegiance to the flag.
Kindness and justice, and to use their authority to serve our citizens faithfully. In your name we pray. Amen. Amen.
I'm going to have the Girl Scouts here come up and lead us. We don't bite.
Right there.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good job. Here. 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 Here.
Here. Noel?
Here.
Lakewood?
Here.
Willard?
Here.
Banner? Here.
You'll receive the meeting minutes for April 3rd, 2018. Any comments or questions on those? Hearing none, those stand as presented. We received a thank you letter from Northwood Rescue Services in regards to allowing the Easter egg hunt this year at Firestone Park. We also received Columbiana Park Recreation and Cemetery Board meeting minutes of March 26, 2018. World Planning Commission meeting minutes of April 10th, 2018. Any comments or questions on those? Not, we'll move right into number 8. Marion Plessy. She's here to seek permission regarding the St. Jude Festival to be held June 2018.
Good evening to the council. My name is Marianne Plessy, and I'm the director of the St. Jude Parish Festival. It's going to be held this year, June 21st through the 24th, from 5 to 10 p.m. Our entertainment will begin each evening from 6 to 9. On Thursday, we will have DJ Anthony Horvath. On Friday, we will have Sounds Around Town. On Saturday, we will have the Manhattan Band, and on Sunday, we will have Don Tucker with the Brotherhood. A grand prize drawing of $5,000 will also take place on Sunday. I am here tonight to ask your permission on a few items concerning the festival. I would like to hang a banner in the downtown area, like the one that was up for the street fair. I've spoken to Jake Sevick, and he gave me the gentleman's name who made the sign for him. I was wondering if the wording that we had planned would be okay. I will pass around the sample of that for you to look at. And I would like to know how many days ahead the banner could be put up. Would it be the same as the sign that we put up? That would be 14 days prior to the festival. And also, I would like to ask council's permission, should we do the wording on both sides or only on one side? Because I did not know exactly where it was going to hang this year.
I believe it was 21, if I'm not mistaken. I can probably be in touch with you.
Okay.
And then as long as the same person makes it should meet our specifications.
Also, I would like to ask the street department if they could leave barricades at the end of Firestone Avenue and 7th Street and put temporary no parking signs on the other side of 7th Street to keep that street completely empty for traffic up and down. Now this year, on Thursday evening, I have planned a Veteran Appreciation Night. Opening ceremonies will be at 5:45. A free gift will be given to the first 500 veterans, and with proper ID, they will receive $1 off an order at the church's food tent. We're looking for a large sum of additional traffic on this night, and any additional help that you could give us, I would appreciate. We will probably need 4 police officers for that evening, And then the following 3 nights, probably 3 police officers. I'm very pleased that everything has played out very smoothly the last 2 years, and I thank everyone for all their help.
Do we need a motion to consider this?
I'll make a motion that we accept the language as read for the dates of the 21st to 24th, is it? Okay.
I'll second that. Do you have any issues with the,
No, sir, I don't. In fact, I work with Mary Ann, father, sister, and the folks down there, gave them an entire checklist of things to think of, and we went through that when they started this festival, and it's gotten bigger every year. They're great to work with, and I don't foresee any problem in helping them with their event, and we'll put this out to our folks to get the staffing in place, and we'll help any way we can.
Okay,
Make
appreciate
it
it.
happen.
Lance, does the street department do the barricades and the signs?
Yes.
That's okay, too? Sure.
So you can be in touch with Lance on the dates for the sign. Your motion includes the approval of the hanging the banner, does that take council?
Of the wording and everything, is that okay?
I think
We need a second.
then we do a second.
Do a second motion on that.
I'll make a motion that we approve the sign.
Let's do the first motion on the floor.
Point of order, right on the first one.
Have a roll call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Becker?
Yes.
Sauer?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Now, if you'll make a motion for this one.
Now I'll make a motion to accept the sign as presented.
A second.
Any other comments? Roll call.
Sauer?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
All right. Next up, we have Girl Scout Troop 80191 to present a check to the city of Columbiana for the K-9 program. Let's come forward.
A check for $250 from the Girl Scout troop. It's amazing.
Hi, this is Girl Scout Troop 80191, or at least a third of us. And the girls every year choose what service projects they want to participate in, and the K-9 was one of them. And this is Erin. She'd like to talk a little bit about it.
Hello.
So how did you choose spending money on the K-9?
There were a lot of options that we all voted on, and eventually we came to with the decision to help out with the K-9 unit.
We really appreciate it.
It's something that the parents and the leadership of the group should be extremely proud. For people of this age to be interested in giving back to their community, this is the leadership of tomorrow here, and this stuff is just amazing. It's not seen everywhere. I'm proud that we have it here. Thank you so much for all the money and all that. Yeah, I think maybe we can get a picture with the girls and the
Sure.
whatever you
Girls,
want
want
to
to come on up?
And also, this is a really good time to start selling cookies.
Yes. I have the house in the car.
Before I get rid of all of them.
Here, you girls, want to come on up with Keith? Go ahead, stand right next to him. You girls in the
The other
front.
ones we go get in the picture.
Aaron, get in there.
Taller ones in the back, long back to me.
All right, ready?
Everybody gets seen.
Ready? 1, 2, and I'll move.
We all good?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Nice work,
ladies.
Good job.
Thank you, girls.
Thank you.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Good job, girls.
Next up, we have, Sean Venter. Name and address for the record.
Sean Zentner, 42277 Edward Circle, Columbiana, Ohio. I am now the new president of Columbiana Athletic Boosters. In the past, the Athletic Boosters, we used to do a membership drive around town, and we're trying to bring that back. We want everyone to know that the Athletic Boosters is back in motion, and we're here to help Columbiana Athletics be the best they can be. So what I'm here to ask for today is permission for us on May 12th to do our membership drive here in the city of Columbiana and outlying areas.
Can you explain, a little bit more details,
Sure.
for those that probably don't know?
Oh, yeah. What we're doing is our memberships are $10. You'll get a little sticker for your window that you can put in your house or in your car. We also we're going to do alumni booster members, and then we're also going to work at some point on getting some corporate sponsors for athletic boosters. And again, what we take care of is, some of the things that the schools might not be able to afford or may not seem appropriate for school tax dollars to go towards, We'll be helping, all sports, too, which one thing I want to definitely stress. I will be helping the soccer team, I will be helping, basketball, baseball, girls, boys, everything. So we definitely want everyone to know that Columbiana Athletic Boosters are back here because we want Columbiana Athletics to be the best they can be.
I assume the school board is approved?
Yes, yeah. And I meet with them again tomorrow. We meet once a month, by the way.
Is this a door-to-door solicitation?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, and it used to be done all the time, which, I know some of you probably, and when I got involved, I had numerous people come up to me and say, why don't you guys come around anymore like you used to? So I just feel like the city backs it, and I think it's a great thing for I think the school and the city work great together, and we would definitely want to promote that.
So we would need a motion to suspend the council rules, and there will be one additional thing after this. If you want to suspend them both times, but the end will also be addressing from the public on behalf of the American Legion for street fairs, so they want to do both.
I'll move that we suspend council rules on the publication prior to the meeting for both of them.
One second.
Roll call.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Abstain or yes? You can have a happy yes.
Souter?
Yes.
So I got 5.5 votes. Okay, so now you need a motion.
I'd make a motion that we approve the request for the booster club. Second.
Any comment?
I do want to say one thing. I also spoke with the chief prior to this a couple weeks ago, and he noticed the date, he was all for it also.
Okay. Have roll call?
Liston?
Yes.
Bug?
Do I need to abstain as a coach?
Are you a member of the Boosters Club?
Yeah, she's done with
I would think that if you're not a member of the Boosters Club, you would not need to.
Okay, so I'll say yes.
Noel?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Souter?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Thank you all. I appreciate it.
And next up, we'll have Dan Becker here speaking on behalf of the American Legion in regards to this year's street fair.
Good evening, Dan Becker, 518.5 East Park Avenue, Columbiana, Ohio. As you know, for well over 100 and some years, we have had the street fair here in Columbiana. I am here tonight representing also Jake Civic in the American Legion, wishing your pleasure on us having our street fair in September 2018.
I move that we accept what Dan requested.
In the past, there's always been a request to suspend the $25 fee for basketball. We'd like to add that.
Thank you for bringing that up, Mayor. This was kind of on a short occasion.
Yeah, I recommend that we suspend the waive the fee.
Roll call?
Just for roll call, I think it's appropriate for us to mention that a good number of us here are either members of the Legion or members of the Sons of the American Legion. And I don't know, I think if all of us were to abstain, we'd end up with maybe 2 of those.
To break them into half votes.
Yeah. We don't. In fact, we do a lot of work to make the thing come off.
Yes.
Yes.
Becker?
Yeah.
Howard?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gibson?
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll move into the manager's report.
We were working on a CHIP agreement for the housing improvement. We executed that, and it'll meet the deadline. We're working with the county to do that. Out at the water plant, we're starting to fill tanks and test some pumps, so we're getting close. We're just circulating that water within the system right now, bumping the motors and testing them, so it's very exciting for us. Again, the Harvest for Hunger boxes are at City Hall. Construction on Fairfield Avenue sidewalk project started, and that really impacted all of our utility departments. They've been out there working with them on various infrastructure since they started. We're working on phasing in the well sites for the fiber communication. That's basically the conduit for the water wells to talk to each other back and back to the plant. The 7 and 14 project, that's started. Probably don't have to tell anybody that's been out there that it started. It's a little crazy out there. And again, that's affecting water, sewer, electric, and street departments. We've all been out there on various occasions for the last couple weeks on that. We did attend at the public meeting for the CHIP program that we just mentioned. We attended a business roundtable for RCAP, and I'll be visiting the next business development meeting to discuss some ideas that we had from RCAP. RCAP did find a potential grant for us. If you recall, we have to meet EPA requirements. We have to do an asset management on the water plant. We actually found it. RCAP contacted us. They found a grant for us to apply for. So probably the next meeting we'll have some legislation on there to do that. It is competitive, but we're hoping to do well on that. So I'll be bringing that to you. And we're going to be using RCAP to help us out with the asset management program. I've been working with American Legion on a project. We've always had problems with distress flags and what to do with them. contacted me, and, we're getting ready to install this up the park, the street park. It's actually got a house, very nice unit. It's a stainless steel unit. You can pass that down. And it'll be anchored in the ground, and it's near a flagpole. And we appreciate everything the American Legion does. They do provide us with the flags. We order them, every year off of them. And we're always wondering what to do with the old ones, so, they properly dispose of them. Out at the water plant, the VoIP phone system's being installed. It's in the process right now. Street department, we've been working on some ditches and drainage, for Creek Road. We actually rented a piece of equipment to do that. We have also completed a project out at the pool house. And we actually had 2 brush pickups. Normally, we only have the one, but we had that major storm come through, so we went ahead and picked up the piles after that latest storm. The water department, we did, as I said, we're having a lot of action in the city. We've got 25 dig locates. That's Ohio Utility Protection. We've had to mark that with all of our utilities. We did 4 meter change outs, and again, the water department's been working on all those projects that I mentioned, and they also helped the park open pavilion, restrooms, water fountains, and water out the ball field. The wastewater department, we've been talking about stormwater a lot lately. We were overwhelmed at the wastewater plant that last April 4th storm. We haven't completely filled our EQ basins since 2009, and we did that for 7 hours. And then this last one, the water's so saturated, or the ground was so saturated that we just put water all the way through. That's 2.2 million gallons of storm water and sewage that we put in those tanks. We did receive a new tank drain pump that we ordered. We're going to be putting that in as soon as the flow goes down. And we're getting ready for disinfection season. We need all these UV lamps. Park and cemetery, as I said, they've been opening up the pavilions, water fountains and such. So, let's see. They're almost done with it. That kitchen on pavilion floor, I think all they're waiting on is the countertops. And we're still working on that coal heater, but we should have everything wrapped up for that in the next couple of weeks. Electric department, they've been really busy. We've got a couple large new services going in. We're working on those, and also they helped pull that fiber for wells 14 and 15. The conduit was already in, but you want to pull the fiber through that conduit as close to the time as you're going to land it, and basically wire it up. So they did that last couple of weeks. They also took the fiber off the track. So the water tower can pump through the water plant, just as the wells do. And let's see here. I think that's it for mine, but I'm going to turn it over to the chief, just have him give us a couple briefs.
Okay, we'll run down through this. Just a couple tidbits we posted on the department's Facebook page, pictures of the canine dog and the handler. If you haven't seen that, take a look. Beautiful dog. As of this afternoon, we had over 18,700 views. Since we have about 6,300 people in town, somebody's looking at this outside of here. We've gotten checks from as far away as California that are supporting the effort. People that used to live here that want to help, and we really appreciate that, so it's great. We just got a check for $500 from Victory Christian Center today. It's really been gratifying, and we have a grant application still outstanding and some other pledges, including the American Legion. We'll be meeting with them later this month, and we're moving right along. The T-shirts, you haven't seen the T-shirts. These are the T-shirts. It says Columbiana Canine Supporter. On the back says, "Evil is powerless if the good are unafraid," and they're kind of cool. Our friends up at Blue Line Limited have agreed to get these printed for us, and they're charging us just cost. All the profits will come back to our program. They're making nothing on it, and they're doing all the work on it, so we really appreciate them. course, Danny Farinelli is one of our auxiliary members, so we got kind of an inside, track there. So that works out.
How would we order those?
You can order them online. There's a link on our Facebook page. You can go to BlueLineLimited.com website and order them there. You can go to the store if you're driving by in North Lima, and order them there. We're having a hard time keeping them in stock. We're basically doing orders because we can't keep enough on hand. Every time we get a shipment in, they go. So I think this is going to be a good, successful project. Well, that's how you get them. On our website, you get them. $16. These are $16. The U sizes, they got those. They got all the way up to, I think, 5X. For those of us that might need a little bit of extra help, we got those. I talked to Brian Granchi, the handler that we sent off to school. He started yesterday. I talked to him last night. He was beat up. He said the first thing they do every morning is a 2-mile run. So, having just got out of the Army, he's kind of used to that, but it was beating him up a little bit. Every Thursday they have a written exam, and they have to answer. There's no true and false and no multiple choice. It's all knowledge and things you've learned. Fail 3 tests, you're out. So it's a lot of pressure, and he's under the gun. He tells me he's excited about the challenge. He's ready to meet it. And he wants to get out there after 10 weeks, and his goal is to be the best handler and the best team in the whole region. So that's his goal. Last week was National Telecommunicators Week. I wanted to mention this just briefly. Hannah Karamico was on TV 27 on Sunday. You saw that article. A great article. She did a wonderful job. The thing that I think ties in with the K-9 program is her worst nightmare in 2 years is answering a number of calls where children have called in and they can't wake their parents up, and they turn out to be overdoses, and some of them have been brought back from Narcan, some of them have not. And those are tragedies that she'll live with at 20 years old for the rest of her life. So using a dog for drug enforcement, I think, is critical to what we're trying to do, but she did a fantastic job, and we really appreciate what she's done for us. The other thing about the K-9 program is, we talked about the Girl Scout troop today. Also, the kids over Heartland Christian School and the Leo Club have designed a poster, basically a flyer. You're going to see these around town, and it talks about the K-9. They made this up themselves. They're going to try to raise money for us, and they've already given us $150. I think it's the best thing I've seen is having youth get involved in a community project. You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. And this stuff is really gratifying to be a part of, and I appreciate the time.
You received the Mayor's Court report for March 2018. Also received notification from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control regarding application for a D1, D2, D3, D6 liquor permit in the city of Columbiana, links to Firestone Farms, DBA links to Firestone Farms and Golf Course and Patio, 105 St. Andrews Drive, Columbiana, Ohio. Chief, is this something that we need to vote, whether we need a hearing or not? Yes.
This is whether you got your request a hearing, and generally speaking, the DA can tell you how it usually goes, but the D1, D2, and D3, those are basically beer, wine, spirituous liquor, and mixed drinks. The D6 is a Sunday license. They're commonly gotten together, and it's basically the full meal deal for what kind of service you need in a banquet center. We don't have any opposition at this point from the police department side, and we defer to council's wisdom on that.
So in the past, we've made a motion for a hearing, and it's been voted down.
Yeah, the last time we did this, we noticed the forms marked slightly differently than what the old ones were. There are 3 boxes that can be checked, one requesting a hearing in our county seat in Columbus, and one requesting not to have a hearing. I don't think you were here at that meeting the last time we did it. You were, at that meeting we made a motion to return the form with the box marked, we do not request a hearing, which that way you can vote yes, and it's a positive type of vote. So I'll make that motion now.
Second.
Any comments? No roll call?
Noah?
Yes.
Becker?
Yes.
Stoddard?
Yes.
McBain?
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Bug,
Yes.
Moving into, bill list, do you have any questions on the bill list? No, okay, Steve, due to the length of the ordinances, can I have a motion to read them by title only?
So moved. Second.
Any comment? A roll call?
second,
No.
Bowder,
No.
McBain,
No.
Liston,
Yes.
Bug, no. Noel,
Yes.
motion failed.
Need a copy of the food truck ordinance on that one. Someone wants me to read it, we'll have to bring it. I have to do it, I just don't have that. Yep.
Last month.
That's good, they still. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, we got over here.
We have it. 18-0-2954, second reading. An ordinance amending Part 8 Business and Taxation Code, Title 2 Business Regulation of Columbiana to include Chapter 844 Mobile Food Vending. Now therefore be it hereby ordained by the Council of the City of Columbiana, State of Ohio, Section 1, that Part 8 Business and Taxation Code, Title 2 Business Regulation of Columbiana, shall be and hereby are amended by adding thereto Chapter 844 Mobile Food Vending, a copy of which chapter is attached hereto as Exhibit A, and made a part hereof the same as it rewritten herein. Section 2, that any section, phrase, sentence, or portion of this ordinance for any reason held invalid or unenforceable by a court of competent jurisdiction, the same shall be deemed a separate, distinct, and independent provision, and such holding shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions hereof, which shall remain in full force and virtue. Section 3, that this city council finds and determines that all formal actions of the city council concerning and related to the passage of this ordinance were taken in an open meeting of the city council, that deliberations of the council that result in those formal actions were in meeting open to the public in compliance with the law. Section 4, the publication of the ordinance shall be by short form in accordance with Section 6.15B of amended charter. And Section 5, that this ordinance shall become effective and be in full force and virtue at the earliest point in time permitted by the provisions of amended charter for the city of Columbiana.
So moved.
Second.
Are you allowing questions?
What's that?
Are you allowing questions?
I will at some point.
Before you
Before
vote.
before council vote, yeah,
Before you go?
absolutely.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
I have some comments, under, in the exhibit under chapter 84.401 definitions, J, the mobile food vending license shall, mean an official document by the city of Columbiana authorizing and the, corporate of the city. And I was curious as to how we would know that the unit license is the license and the unit there are actually both, the ones approved. In other words, I'm thinking that maybe we need something to ID the truck, like a picture of the truck or something of that sort, to be able to say, yes, this is the same one, so that people don't move licenses around between trucks. Well, could be the license plate, true, yeah, taking the trailer has the license plate.
If we give them a license, Augie would give them a permit, and they have it posted, which is a part of the ordinance, I don't think they could put the same permit in two at the same time, if they only have it in one, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
If
just
they wanted a
saying,
different truck floating around, I don't know that it would matter as long as they're still operating under that one. If any mobile food vendor in town has, say they have 3 trucks, and they apply for a permit, and we let them show up at XYZ lot, and they're operating under the permit, as long as they're not operating 2 trucks under the same, you know,
yeah, I understand that, it was a question that I had. Do we need to identify the truck on the license, on what's posted, you know, or including the license plate with it could be a very good solution as opposed to doing something else like that. Okay, so again, let me just go through these different questions I have, and then we can decide what we wanna do. In looking at, food trucks on public right-of-ways, it's not real clear to me, and maybe I'm just missing it in the language, how that gets approved. I mean, where do they go? Do they apply for the license? Who tells them where they're allowed to park or whatever? It's very clear for, private property that they need to go through, planning commission to get approval for the sites on the private property, but what do we do when someone comes and says, well, I want to operate a food truck on, you know, we don't have a whole lot of public property where it would actually happen, but if we do, how does that get handled?
I can find the line, but, public right-of-way, we stated that there was no operating a public right-of-way at all without the council's express permission, correct? Yeah, I can find the line, but I know that's in here.
I think that's, what he's asking though is for those specific moments where it may be appropriate, how does that person know where to go? They come directly to council?
It says council approves, so they have to.
All right, I know there were places where council approved, and I had trouble finding it when I was going back through this and looking again. Under, let's see, it'd be section 844.03, the application for license. This is something where there's some confusion in my mind. Under 8, 9, and 10, it kind of says that, proof of the applicant is current and compliant with the payment of Columbiana city taxes on payroll, net profits, et cetera, and then as you go further down, we have a set of application fees, and from what I recall of the discussions, I think in planning commission or whatever, those fees were based on the idea that, gee, we need to collect fees that offset the taxes. I think you did a calculation that said, if a food truck can earn $50,000 a year, then that's the equivalent of 1% would be this much money.
Yep.
And it sounds to me like we're double dipping in a way, and I'm wondering if that makes sense.
Well,
If we're requiring to show that they're paying taxes then it seems to me that the application fees ought to be, more reflective of the city costs to issue the permit and to handle cleanup and other sorts of things like that.
I would only assume that there is no other profession. Theoretically, you could have a business owner that also owns a food truck.
No, we have that, we know that.
So this would just state that before you could apply for a permit to operate another business within the city, that you're current on your taxes for the city, period.
Do we do that with other businesses though?
I don't know of another business that requires an actual business permit, for the city.
What I'm saying is like, if somebody comes to planning commission, says I already have a business and I wanna open another one, do we put that same restriction upon them? I don't believe so. I feel like, I don't think that we should be doing things that restrict, the potential food truck in a way that we don't also restrict to our brick and mortars.
I agree wholeheartedly with that. And I think you'll find that the brick and mortars have much more, tax regulation on them than, you'll ever find in this ordinance. Not even in the same ballpark.
Okay.
But, I mean, as far as taxes on that go, I've spent the last hour and 45 minutes at mayor's court dealing with, tax cases. That most definitely, at least in my mind, when I'm, giving my input in writing this, it comes into play. I don't think that we should afford someone to further run business in our town if they would happen to have back tax. I don't think we should start something more.
Well, I agree with that, but
That's
I mean,
why that went in.
if we were, but I'm still getting to the point that we're requiring them to be compliant on their, taxes. I mean, even if they, you know, if they've operated the food truck in town for a year and they come to the second year for another license and they haven't paid taxes on the first year, they're not in compliance.
Yes, yeah, that's right. But there's no way on a food truck per se to know any amount of income that's generated.
That's true of any cash business, and we have a lot of cash businesses in town.
I'm just saying from writing, you don't go after bad with something good. If you're gonna write code day forward, you write it the way you want it to be. I can't change the way our code was written in 73, but if I'm gonna draft an ordinance that oversees it, I'm gonna give my opinion on language of how it should
Sure.
be.
No, I'm just expressing some of the concerns I have on things. And already stated, the other question I kind of had was, when we're looking at these different fees, are we limiting number of days per week? I mean, I almost wonder if we should allow food trucks to operate 7 days a week continually. It's not continually, because I know there's hours from 8 to 11 or whatever it was. But, I mean, I think I'd feel much more comfortable if they were restricted to 3 days a week, or 4 days a week, or 2 days a week, or, I don't have an exact number, it seems like it would be more reasonable to do that.
How many, I know that, Birdfish relies on the food trucks being there. There you go.
Yeah.
How many days a week do you guys have the food trucks there? Like,
Really I mean, if we can get them there every day, that's 90% of our calls is do you have food. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is our operation hours up here on Main Street, and, yeah, and we do see a uptick in foot traffic if we are able to say when we do get those calls, hey, we do. But we also promote other brick and mortar businesses as well. We've got local menus from, the shops right here on Main Street too, to promote, that they can bring their own food in. We've worked with ours, they deliver down to the brewery now, so. But, 4 days a week now if we were open Monday through Sunday,
Right, that's the
if
thing.
we could do 7 days, I mean,
You're pushing for that, though.
yeah, and that's,
You don't
down
want to restrict.
on East Park Avenue, I mean, who's to say that you know, Birdfish doesn't buy their own food truck and run food out of it, or, you know, I mean, that's discussions that have been had.
So, and my next question with that is, currently we've got 4 days. Do you have the same truck ever there for 4 days in a row, or do you
Not
change it
the
up every
same,
night?
no, we change it up.
And so you all know, planning commission didn't recommend restricting a single day.
And then my second one, I'm having trouble understanding why we wanna restrict, because like Mr. Rance that came to the planning commission with you utilizing up here on Main Street, if he wanted to be open 7 days a week, why would we wanna prohibit that?
Allow McDonald's to do it, why wouldn't you let a food truck do it?
I concur.
And I will say these food trucks have their own following as well, so, you know, they're active on social media just like we are, and, when they see that, you know, No Swine Left Behind is down in Columbiana, they have people that come strictly down here to Main Street for that, so there's exposure there of traffic that, you know, this is what we've talked about over the last 2 years of what can we do to make downtown more of a, kind of a destination spot, and I mean, this is a step forward for that.
All right, the last thing that I have written down, under 84410, I kind of feel like there ought to be a 10th item listed, which just simply says that, food trucks must comply with, city ordinances on noise and offensive odors. And, you know, again, it's, you know, a food truck sitting out there with loudspeakers and playing music and stuff, that could potentially be a problem for neighbors, particularly in areas where there are upstairs apartments and things like that, or a loud generator, various things like that. So it just seems to me that there ought to be something that, you know, even though those things would automatically be something that the police were called, they would say, wait a minute, you're violating the noise ordinance or whatever that is. I think it makes it clearer for them to see that within the ordinance. So those are kind of my main concerns.
The first one I definitely think is a very valid point.
All right, I think, Ms. Bain's first, question made me
Right.
think of something.
I did have one other one, I missed it. There's an application process, and I was just curious, do we plan on having an application form? I've always found that rather than telling people, here's what you need to provide, it works much better if you actually create a form and say, fill in this form and put everything in all the boxes.
Yeah,
Totally agree.
That was, the recommendation of the planning commission was for a form to be created, that would be used, by August or Lance or whoever he would designate. So when they come in, they would fill everything out, they can review it, make sure it complies with code initially.
Okay.
All right, if somebody has 3 or 4 vehicles, are we gonna charge them a fee for each vehicle if they wanna be able to bring 3 or 4 vehicles into the town at a time?
I think that each business should be charged a permit. I don't think that it should be based on an individual number of vehicles, it should be based on number of, businesses.
We have that clarified in here anywhere.
I don't think it differentiates, it just states that a business owner has to apply for a permit for the vehicle. It doesn't say.
How do the folks who are licensing their vehicles require that they have one before, one license?
We need multiple copies of it.
I mean, I know some vendors own, like, say, a pizza truck, and then they also own a French fry one, and then a donut one. I mean, how does that, it might be one business owner, but.
My opinion is one permit should be good for all. So if they have multiple, and they register each of those license plates, or however you decide it would be, that's, under that permit, I don't see there's a reason to. I don't see a reason to make each truck pay a different fee.
I can see a reason to do that, but I mean, if you've got
one that's got multiple vehicles, he did the same thing. Just as that keeping it on the line.
I mean, you could do that by having a, you know, first license is X and second license is some smaller portion of that.
I mean, we've already, have designated areas that we're approving that dictate one of the slots. So like in Columbus, you can have a permit and operate every day and not sell, right? I mean, have you guys ever sold down in Columbus? No? There's an online permitting where you have to apply, purchase your permit, and then, list the name of the streets that you want to be able to park on. And then after you pay for the permit to park on that street for the day, it's still first come, first served, right? Yeah, so, I thought you were drawing. Oh, I thought you were shaking your head like you knew. So you can apply down there and pay for a permit and never get the spot. I don't think that, is the way that this is being designed. I think we have a lot of private business owners with space that want, planning commission to approve lots. And if we have 3 in one spot and 5 over in another, you've got 8 spots with those 2 places. The first they fill them, fill them.
If you could have eight slots filled on one,
Good.
Let's back up just a little bit, correct me if I'm wrong, but somewhere in my mind, we only approved the 3 or 4 slots on the Schmidt property. Maybe one over by where the 3As is, that's all we have done, okay, to date. Is that correct?
We've approved quite a bit.
Okay,
a lot more than that.
bring me up on who we've approved, for some reason it's speaking.
Newton's.
Where?
Thinking of
Newton's, yes, all right.
Behind
we have-
Fish across the street in the Rance lot.
See, here's my issue. Okay, Rance owns that property.
Yep.
Okay? Permission has to be given by,
By the landowner.
thank you.
Yeah.
So therefore, if it's, the Schmidt say, all right, I don't want, I only want 2, it's becoming too cumbersome.
And not only that, they can pick the 2 they want. We have no say-so over who they're allowing, just the number of spaces that we are approving.
Okay? Now, the other thing is, there was a food truck down at, the tasting room, okay, which is their second opening. All right? And my question is, since they do not own that property, does the owner of that property have to come before the planning commission or so be it to get permission for, a food truck or trailer to be pulled in there?
Yes.
The answer is yes.
And that documentation is kept on file?
Yes, I'm assuming.
Well,
We
the
have
minute,
some documents.
if he comes to the planning commission and requests that it would be in the minutes of the planning commission,
Okay.
either approved or denied and how many
Yes.
slots were approved,
That's
so
very true.
that would be the record, but apart from that, no.
I would suggest that when they have an application form to complete, that, we perhaps have a list of approved locations that can be updated with contact information, so that they know exactly who they could be contacting about getting the space set up.
The different landowners that are wanting to rent it out.
Right.
I mean, the whole concept of this from day one, was not to, eliminate food trucks, quite the opposite. I believe there needs to be regulation of them, but in no way, shape, or form is it to, suggest that they're not wanted or welcome. I think that we've tried to be very, responsive in allowing them. We just need a way to be able to monitor and manage where, when, how, and, make the playing field somewhat, even with a brick and mortar business.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with all of what you've said so far, except that, you know, we may get into this and we may not, and I'll just kind of hold back comment until we get to that point.
Okay.
Someone out there.
Do you want to come up?
Paul, do you wanna come up?
223 Hudson River Road, Columbiana. I have a whole bunch of questions. First of all, I wondered what consideration does the articles have for the existing brick and mortar restaurants?
What do you mean, considering?
When you were all planning this, what consideration did you have for the existing restaurants that are already here? Plus, what are your thoughts about attracting new businesses that actually want to own a building?
Well, that's definitely the reason why I think there needs to be cost of operating a food truck in a city where there's no reason to own a building, right?
What this does.
What does this
It's
do?
what's cost to the food truck operator to try to make it equitable to you brick and mortar businesses.
So right now, you have, any 20 days or more, you have to, within the city of Columbiana, you have to set up to have, income taxes withheld for your employees and everything else, right?
Yes.
So if a food truck operated 19 days in Columbiana, they would not, right?
Right.
So technically, they could park their food truck the first week of May and leave it every Saturday through September and never have to file income tax with the city, right?
Withholding tax.
That's what I mean. Doesn't mean they don't have to file a return, there's no withholding tax. You have that as a brick and mortar business, you have to do that.
Right.
Right? So, first and foremost, the permit, while it still doesn't come close to leveling the playing field of cost, or investment in the city, it at least brings you to the same game, even if it's not leveling the game, it at least makes you on the same game. So there's skin in the game that way for a food truck owner. Other than that, me personally, I don't think I felt the need to discuss this with local other brick and mortar restaurant businesses.
So you don't think that this is gonna have an impact on the brick and mortars? You don't think
No,
that there's
not
gonna
at
be
all.
a loss
No, I
of
think,
revenue?
Well, you can tell us better than anybody, because you're in that business. You know what goes on when there's a food truck, you know? You can tell us better than anything if it has any adverse effect or any impact.
Well, I can see that it's a losing battle to oppose them.
well, the vote was 3-3 last meeting, so it's not a losing battle, just so you
I
know.
was gonna say this, I really can't, I understand Birdfish wanting to have them, and it does well, and Birdfish has been great with us, you know, did exactly what he said, they have our menus in there, and we deliver to them. My concern is, when I hear you talking about all these spaces that you've already approved, what happens if all these trucks are here 7 days a week?
We have selection,
Well, who does the selecting?
the buyer, whatever they choose to go buy for dinner that day.
You're missing the point. That selection is great, but let's face it, there's only so many people in Columbiana. Granted, you're gonna get a few people that follow food trucks. I doubt there's gonna be hundreds of people. I just think that Columbiana is kind of fighting off something here that maybe they don't really understand, because I did some checking, and your surrounding communities, none of them are setting anything up like this. All of them,
We try to do a lot of things different than other
That's
communities.
right.
and you think that's good,
I think
Mr.
it's
Noel?
fantastic. I think it's fantastic that Columbiana, through the planning commission, through the city council, through the various organizations, have really, Chamber of Commerce, R&D committee, everybody's working to bring people to Columbiana. Do you drive through other, you know, the whole idea here is that you have two ways of looking at your business. And one is that the more people we bring into Columbiana, the more people that want to come to Columbiana, there'll be more business for everyone. And that is the way we look at it. So you're exactly right. We do not plan to go like other communities.
So other communities are, though, looking out for their brick and mortars.
Ma'am,
Specifically,
I think if we weren't,
Canfield.
we wouldn't be having this discussion.
I
I
don't
would
know.
say,
I
no
don't know
permit
that.
costs, park wherever you want, because we're not gonna regulate it. So it's either that or council would say the opposite and say, no food trucks, you can't come here.
So Canfield
I
is
don't
much
think-
more restrictive in that what they're looking to do.
I
Their
don't-
town is about the same size. They have basically the same types of residents that live there. They're looking at only allowing their food trucks around the green to attract people to their green for the different functions. And they're also implementing 175-foot restriction so that trucks don't end up parking, blocking other brick and mortar businesses.
We're not allowing any trucks to park in the right of way with
Right.
these,
I read that.
right?
Yeah.
So that keeps them completely off of Main Street Park. We have approved a lot with someone who has made a cash investment owning the land.
I know, it's
on
not the
Main-
banking.
Right, so whether it's a food truck or a brick and mortar business that sells food, there's gonna be a food selling space right there, either way.
So-
So I just wanna finish this, and then I'll.
Okay, so where is the?
I wanna finish this piece.
Okay,
If you have land and a food truck parked on it, it's not assessed at the same type of property tax level that your building would be, right? So, and that's a detriment, because it costs them a whole lot less to operate than you, right? Yeah, so a part of why we're suggesting a permit fee is so that there is some cost. There is cost associated with property taxes, but not even remotely close to the same.
Right.
Your building is valued much higher than a piece of vacant land with a mobile truck on it. So in that, we're trying to do the opposite of what you're saying and make a food truck owner have a stake in the game that you already are staked in. We're trying to level it. We're not, with what you're suggesting would be if we didn't do this and just say, do whatever you want.
No, I'm not suggesting that you don't do it. I'm suggesting that you maybe gather a little bit more information than what you have as far as the impact that it's had on similar towns of our size. I don't think it's fair to take data or comparisons to big cities like Pittsburgh or Cleveland or Columbus. I think that's totally inappropriate. So I would like to know, what other small towns did you pattern this after, if any at all, or who did you even talk to find out what economic impact it really had in a long term?
I didn't look at economic impact, because I'm, personally, I'm very much open for business free trade. If you wanna open a business, no different than if they wanna open a business, you should both be able to open a business. I shouldn't be able to say your type of business is more competitive than theirs, so you can't do it. I do think that we should try to do things in a way that makes it somewhat fair. I think that people, and I'm only speaking for myself, because I help interact this from the planning commission side. I think that the entire intention of this is to make it more level. And they would turn around and say, well, I don't have the ability to apply for a liquor license in my food truck, I don't have bathrooms, I don't have a lot of things that you have. And so we need to be able to have these things for our food truck because she has them in her building. The argument could be made on both sides, no one's ever gonna be happy.
So you
That's
said
the
the B
seat we
word.
sit in every day.
You said the B word, you brought it up, bathroom.
Yep.
Okay, supposedly, let's envision this. Food trucks come, all kinds of extra people come into town. Where are they going to bathroom?
But right now, the city has public restrooms over here, and other than that, it's not a city problem.
Do you not feel that that's a valid?
I hope they have to go to the bathroom in every store on Main Street.
Right.
I hope they have to go in there and try to buy something.
I know, you think that that's a valid point, but really, it's skirting around a very valid issue.
How?
Because most cities have more accessible public restrooms than Columbiana has. We've got the park there. We wanted to put a bathroom in there. That got absolutely nowhere with council. Nobody thought there was a need, just like nobody thinks there's a need for parking. So, obviously, council isn't on the same page with business owners and people that are residents of Columbiana. So I just think some of these things, you need to just go outside of your circle and talk to more people and probably canvass the actual citizens.
No, I will agree in regards to the bathroom, because as a previous business owner on Main Street, when the streets were busy, people would come in, they would ask to use your restroom, they would clog your toilet to the point where you'd have to hire a plumber, and they would not buy one thing off of you. Not only do you have to pay for a plumber, but you also have to pay for the toilet paper, the water bill, whatever else in regards to that facility. And how do you?
I mean, if you're,
I mean,
the city needs to address it.
I think we do need to address the public restroom issue in regards to this, because it's not fair to the business owners to assume that somebody's gonna use the restroom and then buy something.
And not only that, but a lot of the businesses aren't open the hours that these food trucks will be doing the majority of their business. I mean, a lot of them
but
close
the
at
city's
5.
building is open 24 hours a day, and we have access to restrooms here, and it's a 1-block walk.
Isn't it their business decision to decide when they're open? Shouldn't they be open when there's people downtown?
I
It sounds
do
like
have
these guys
to-
are bringing people downtown.
No, I'm just saying that there are, a lot of the businesses up and down Main Street are not open when the food trucks are going to be there.
So,
That's my point.
I just want you to give your comments, concerns, and have a seat. I normally give people a couple minutes, and I try to give you a lot of time, because I respect the fact that you are a business owner in town, and I want you to know that we are hearing. There are definitely pieces you and I won't agree with, but I think you'll probably find by the time that everyone else is here to talk, they're probably just as upset with me as you, because they don't wanna pay the permit fee, and you don't want them to.
Mr. Mayor, I think
Can I
there's an
say
important,
two more things?
yes, there's an important point here that before we start. This lady's come up to talk to council. You've spent more time talking than what she has.
She's asked me questions.
Okay, I just have two things I wanna say and I'll be done. Okay, first of all, when you're discussing the allowing multiple licenses and multiple vehicles with one fee, I don't see that that's proper. I mean, somebody could have 10 and under one license, that's not fair. It's not fair to the other trucks that are coming in, number one, it's not fair to anyone. And also, I think that it would be nice to know that there is some set limit for how many trucks can be in one particular area. Because I'm not hearing a lot about trucks going out in front of Arby's and McDonald's, and I don't think the Dutch House would particularly like it. I don't know, maybe they would welcome it. But all I'm saying is that I feel like downtown is strictly being targeted, and I know your plan is to bring more people downtown. However, I just hate to think about this looking like a carnival 24/7, and I think that that needs to be addressed. How many ultimate trucks at one time? I don't care how many rotate, but how many are gonna be allowed at one time, say from Historical South, because that's my interest.
So, there have been 5 or 6 locations approved so far.
Right.
None that council or planning commission sought out.
Right.
They sought permission to the planning commission. So,
Oh, sure.
but Main Street's not being targeted by anyone. I think that maybe, wise business owners that see the value in Main Street are trying to target it themselves, but that's free enterprise. That's not council or planning commission targeting anyone, and we have said on this amount of space, you can put 2 trucks, you can put 1 truck, they are limited.
Okay, so they are limited. Did anybody actually total up what that would be if they were all at their max at any one day?
Yeah, I think we could probably count right now, I think we approved 4, down the way, we approved 3.
One behind Birdfish, how many are in?
3 on Rance property, right? I think it was 3 that was requested. Actually, I think the request was made for 2, and we approved 3. So you got 3, 4, 8. We approved, 1 over at 7 and 14. We approved.
But that was only for a limited amount of time.
Every one of these has only been for a limited amount of time.
Now, the one down on, George's property was only for a year's time, and then it was supposed to come back for a revisit.
Well, they haven't put another truck down there.
Well, I'm just clarifying that point.
The quantity of what we've approved.
Yeah, it's.
That's 8 spaces plus 1 at 7 and 14, and we approved 1 for you, John, right out by,
On 14, yeah, the other way.
heading out, west.
Yep.
So that's only 9 or 10. So you're still in the 10 range of total spaces in the city that have been approved.
What's been approved from the
circle, South Main.
Yep.
South Main East.
Eight.
On South Main.
One behind Birdfish, 3 at Ranches, 4 down at the,
So 11 total.
I mean, that is a lot, at one time, if all 8 lots were filled on South Main Street. But that seems to be the idea, that you want variety. So,
I think one thing you have to remember too is, and I'm speaking to these guys, but,
When you speak, I'll need you to come up to the mic.
Will you get your questions answered?
yeah, I got my
appreciate
questions
the comment.
answered. Thank you.
very much.
Thank you.
Who else wants to speak to this?
Anyone else want to address the council?
I'm Brad Rance, cut the ball uptown, don't even know the address. When my wife and I started this, we started this as a hobby to be fun. We bought the lot, the building was torn down, we're trying to make improvements. And, we brought other trucks in there, we haven't charged anybody a dime. We got water hooked up. As soon as we get this worked out, I got an electric pole ready to go in. We're gonna get electric put in, and there won't be a generator, so you won't hear no generator noises. Our goal is not to, hurt anybody. We just want to be part of the downtown Columbiana and to be part of that. Real quick note, if you're coming to downtown to get barbecue, you're gonna get barbecue. I cooked barbecue all day Saturday, and when I was done, I got a pizza, and it was delicious. If you're gonna get barbecue, if you can't get it in Columbiana, you're gonna go to Fort. That's how I feel about that. As far as bathrooms go, I can't answer that one, but, we're here to work with everybody. We don't wanna hurt anybody, but if there is a $500 fee, you probably won't have to worry about too many food trucks. But
So there's 3 different fees being proposed. One's 25 for a single day, one's 300 for a 6-month, which is the entire summer through fall season.
is that like half of the year days?
Mhm.
Okay.
I think it starts in March, doesn't it?
Yeah, we did March 15th through September 15th, which covers after through street fair for 300. And just so the whole room knows where I came up with that number, my research showed me that an average income for a food truck vendor was around $50,000. So I took 1% of that and came up with $500. And then I divided and said, if someone doesn't want to make the whole stake in the game, then they should pay a little bit more than someone who is. So I made it 300 for a 6-month. And if someone wants to come into Columbiana and try it out for a day, just to see if it's worth the time, I made it $25. That's how, that generic, how I came up with the number. But the 1%, income tax in Columbiana is what got me to that, because it'd be easy for someone coming through town to park their truck for a couple days, leave, never file anything, we'd never know, we'd never collect. This way, we can level the playing field with business owners that have a hard stake in the game, that do have property taxes to collect, that do have, income tax and payroll taxes that they're having to collect. There are things that are being imposed on those businesses every single day, and they still operate and survive.
I understand all that, and I appreciate that. The 500, there's only 2 food trucks that I know of that's full-time food trucks, which would be John Lee and the Louisiana guy.
Yeah.
But I can't see the guy selling shrimp gumbo.
He actually told us that he is the busiest, Columbiana's the busiest place he sells.
Well, maybe he will, he's the only one I did talk to. But that's my 2 cents. We're here to work with everybody. We don't wanna hurt anybody. We even addressed the trash issue. We heard that there was some trash laying around, and so we've been checking the cans. I went up Sunday morning, and there was no trash. Everything was emptied out. So, we are here to work with you guys, but.
Yeah. And I'd also, again, I feel like I'm doing a lot of talking, but I wrote a lot of this, and I was involved in every planning commission discussion about it. I think a part of what you had originally presented was to be able to sell, and rent out space for food trucks to operate there.
eventually.
Right, and if there's value enough for them to wanna pay you, there's value enough for the permit to be issued in the first place. Because if it whether it costs them $10 or $20 to rent the space from you, there's value in that. So for them to come to council and say, this is too much, for the government to impose, try to make things fairly even with a brick and mortar business. I did tell you that we would make neither side happy.
I'm happy, I'm sure you're happy. Thank you.
But that's where that came.
I just want you guys to know where we're coming from. You know, we wanted to bring people downtown. We wanted to be part of what we saw was happening, and it is happening. And we just wanted to be part of that. We're doing this, my wife and I are doing this because we enjoy cooking. I guarantee you, we're not doing it to make money. We don't want to lose money, but we do it because we like it. Some of the food trucks, they gotta make money, that's their living. It's our hobby. So, thank you.
Anyone else? You want to address council?
Discuss any of those points that Dick had. I think there's room for discussion there.
Well, you know, the one thing I had was identifying the food truck, the license with the food truck, and the recommendation was that the, vehicle license be put on the permit. So I guess that would need to be a motion to include the, I don't know where it goes in here, but a motion to include the, vehicle license, on the permit. It may actually be back where you talk about the things that need to be provided.
It does state that in here, that the license has to be, I don't think it says their license plate has to be a part of the permit. That should be added maybe under 84402 license required for operation.
Yeah.
Maybe just make it E.
Okay, now, that change is gonna, by default, mean that if one person has two trucks, you've got two licenses by definition.
Or you just write both license plates on one permit. I guess that, I mean, if you do that, then the next piece would be whether you wanna have a different fee for each one. And I definitely would think if you did that, you'd want it to be substantially less than the first. Or make, if you have for each truck, have them divide it out in costs.
Brad, how many people got more than one truck that you know?
It takes me 3 trucks when I bring everything out to work out of one.
But you're working
I'm
one.
selling out of one, but
vending
I'll
unit.
have 3, I'll have my smokers there, and I'll have another smoker there, and then we'll be selling out of the one. But there would be 3 sitting on the lot, so it could potentially look like 3, but it's only one.
This addresses that with ancillary.
That would be one. But you're only selling out of one.
Correct.
Is there anybody that has 2 or 3 trucks?
I have 2.
You got 2, do you ever bring them into town at the same time?
Yeah, if they're booked, like, I think one weekend I gotta be at Birdfish with a small one, and then I'll be out at, town center with the other one. But that's, you know, I don't know how many times that'll happen. Cause as soon as catering season hits, you probably won't see me maybe but once a month, if that, in town.
So for you, your busy season,
Starts mid-May.
so a permit, because this is my question last time, I didn't agree with the date. I thought it should be 6 months or a year from date of application to, 6 months later. For you to get a 6-month license would make no sense then, because you're not here in town during that time.
Right.
You would need to be
'Cause I'm
here.
booked all over the place, Warren, Cortland.
So you're forced to buy the 1-year license.
No,
You want to
you-
come
you
in
could-
here, but he wants to come in, if you want to come in here in January or December.
Well, I get invited in, I don't ever call and say, hey, I'm coming, it's always Birdfish or somewhere, I've never called
So
and.
you'd be required to get this permit.
Right,
It's
but
half.
if he's only here once a month, he might be better off just to get a one-day license.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Better off.
It surely would be cheaper.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I'm addressing the issue of the two trucks.
well, the first thing we need to address is your first recommendation to add the license plate number to the permit.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
So, we need a motion to amend 844.02 to add E, license plate, number must be, added, to the permit, form.
Well, I'll make that motion, even though I'm not sure I can repeat it.
License plate number must be submitted at time of application.
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call?
We haven't decided on how we're gonna work that with number of trucks or.
It wouldn't affect
Adding
that.
it, okay.
Yep. Yeah, no, that wouldn't affect that, just that you have to put a license plate on for the truck on it. Have roll call?
This is on the amendment. Souter,
Yes.
McDaniel,
Yes.
Liston,
Yes.
Bug,
Yes.
Noel,
Yes.
Becker,
Yes.